Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
And tonight we'll be reviewing a movie that just came out last month, which is called Scream 6, that was released in 2023. As you well know, I've told you guys several times.
Well, number 6.
Now, in our last review, I think we mentioned we were going to review this movie, I think.
We might have mentioned it, I can't remember. Yeah.
It's in my last podcast, so...
Actually, this has only been running since the 10th of March, so...
as I said before, it was released last month.
Yeah, we're doing this today. You won't hear this for about 2 weeks. So 10th of March, so by the time you hear it, it's probably 3 to 4 weeks it's been running. And... at the moment where we are, it's only been running for about 10 days, and it's making a killing at the box office.
Yeah,
pardon the pun about killing.
Well, it is making a killing. I mean, I have not heard one negative report on whether it was bad or that it's redone over and over again. You know, in the negative stage.
We'll talk about the reviews later, but it's well received. The box office is really paying off. It's only been 10 days into it as of today. But in 3 weeks' time, obviously the figures are going to change. So,
of course.
Okay, let's get into it. Okay, right. Produced by William Sherrick, James Vanderbilt, and Paul Neinstein. Directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olphin and Tyler Gillette. Written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick, I think. Based on the characters by Kevin Williamson, who probably started the thing in the first place.
Originally made by Wes Craven, wherever he is.
Mr. Craven. Well,
how I miss him.
Oh, yeah, what a joy to behold.
I gotta admit, I do like the fact that Scream is like the whodunit, which is even great.
Who done what to whom? Yeah. Okay, here's a part I like. Budget $35 million. To date, like I said, it's only been about 10 days in the cinemas, and it's made $89 million so far.
Yeah, I mean, it made it bigger. I've already heard from previous historic things that they said that the other Scream movies didn't reach that particular box office money. So this is sort of a record for that Scream franchise. This has kind of reached its box office record for this many hits and views.
All right, there's lots of people in this. I won't go through all of them. Well, I'll go through them. I'll see what happens. Okay. Melissa Barrera plays Sam Carpenter.
She comes back again.
Yeah, she's the illegitimate daughter of Billy Loomis and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Jasmine Savoy Brown plays Mindy Meeks Martin. Chad's twin and survivor of the Woodsboro legacy murders. I'll take it, whatever.
Yeah, you may remember her for being the bit of the know-it-all about slashers in general. So she becomes the know-it-all of how it works in this genre.
Anyway.
Go on, Mike.
Jack Champion plays Ethan Landry, a student, and Chad's roommate.
Not so much about him.
Okay, let's skip him. Mason Gooding, Chad Meeks Martin, a student at Blackmore, Mindy's twin and survivor of the Woodsboro legacy killings. A few survivors here. Yeah,
well, there's like 4.
Now, here's something I like. Roger L. Jackson, the voice of Ghostface. See, sometimes these guys, it's a voice that accuses a director or somebody. It's nice to get accreditation of a voice occasionally. You know, it's like,
I agree.
Yeah, if it's a voice actor, should get accredited. Yeah. I won't go through too many other ones. Liana Liberato, plays Quinn Bailey, a student at Blackmore, Samantara's roommate, and Wayne's daughter. Wayne. Dermot Mulroney plays Wayne Bailey, a detective and Quinn's father. It's all in the family here, folks.
Yeah, in this movie, you're going to find that it's another family connection thing.
Don't go too far. You give it away.
I won't give it away.
Okay, I'll give you one more thing here. Jenna Ortega is Tara Carpenter.
So she's come back to replay her role again.
Yeah, Sam's half-sister. So there you go. I won't go through all the other ones. There's like the students, different things, and yada, yada, yada. And Skeeter Richard in there again. Yeah, there's Billy Loomis, blah, 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 blah. Samara Weaving comes in there. She gets killed off early in the piece, doesn't she?
Yeah. She, of course, as you may know, she was in both babysitter movies.
Yeah.
And she also made an appearance in this. Jenna Ortega, she was in the sequel to The Babysitter, Killer Queen, obviously.
Wasn't Samara in another movie?
Yeah, she was in the Ready or Not.
Yeah, Ready.
And that was...
Good actress. Yeah.
Good actress.
Who would think she's related to Hugo Weaving?
Great.
Oh, there you go. Right, I've done that bit. I think that's about it before you roll into the story.
Of course, the lady who plays Gail Weber, Courtney Cox, comes back.
Yeah. That's right.
And from those of you guys who are not aware, Campbell, the lady who played Sydney in the original, in the last other movies, she's not coming back on board for this one for gosh knows reason.
Well, they had a bit
of a salary dispute, according to.
They just had a few discussions. They couldn't agree on something, but you make out she's greedy or something. But there could have been more to it than that.
They do mention as an Easter egg that she and her family have gone into police custody to be protected. You know, her and her kids and her husband, whom I don't know the identity of, even though a lot of people keep saying it could be Detective. The detective she married back in Scream 3.
Probably.
Because that's the only relationship she has currently to date at the moment.
Well, there you go then. Okay, do you want to get into telling the story now?
Sure.
Okie dokie.
So it begins. Laura Crane, who is Samara Weaver, we mentioned, is a teacher, professor, I guess, in film studies, whatever, and she gets catfish called by one of her students. And then she ends up heading into an alleyway, and she gets killed by a Ghostface. And I know what you guys are thinking. This is where the title card comes up, and then we flash to the next day or next morning or whatever.
Nope.
No. As it turns out, this time we do see the Ghostface. As it turns out, it's Jason, one of her students. He removes the mask, and he quickly gets out of his costume, and he quickly makes his way back to his apartment. Along the way, he meets Tara, who is heading towards a costume party or Halloween party. I'm not sure. It's not really important. Throughout this movie, you see a lot of costumes, and I thought it was Halloween, but it continued throughout the movie that they were wearing costumes.
So we're not quite sure whether it's Halloween or whatever.
I don't even know, because the Halloween is the only kind of costume thing that happens during these times, unless someone out there decides to make a special day of it by having a costume party, and it's never been brought forward or mentioned. Anyway, so Jason heads back to his apartment, and you see, along with a lot of movie posters, along with the Stab franchise. Just so you guys know, Stab is a movie franchise based off Scream. Is a sort of a promotional thingy wing to rake in the story a bit more. So
make more money.
Yeah. Anyway, he gets a call from a friend, and he tells him in detail about how he killed his professor. And he goes into details like how he felt like, intimate details, and it sounds like he plans on trying to be the next slasher killer in this movie. But as it turns out, we are on the wrong track, as it turns out. It turns out he's being called by another Ghostface, and unknowingly. And then we realize his friend, who was stuffed into a fridge, bits of him, and we see Ghostface appear behind Jason, and he's slashed, gashed, and killed. And then we cut to the title card. There we continue where we left off when Jason was heading to his apartment, where we see Tara hanging out with a bunch of people at a frat party because she's attending the same university as Chad, and she's studying films, whatever stuff.
That's right,
I don't know how it works, because everyone seems to be into that sort of thing. So Anyway, so Chad, Mindy are hanging out at a frat party, and Chad's befriending Ethan, another boy who's, I guess, a roommate of his. Samantha is also, at the time, was actually attending a psychiatrical psychiatrist meeting where she tells about the moments that she had when she killed her ex-boyfriend. Of course, when she tells this to the psychiatrist, he tells her to seek help. Hello, that's why she's coming to you.
You see a psychiatrist. Oh, wait, you are a psychiatrist, you goon. Yeah,
see? Anyway, she's working 2 jobs, and she's developed a new crush, a nice, good-looking guy that lives next door. He's real muscly and very good-looking, and...
like I used to be once a long time ago. So.
Anyway, her roommate, what's her name, Quinn, tells her that Tara and her friends have gone off to a frat party and are on their own. And she's worried about her sister. And so she heads down there, and when we get to the point where Tara's actually going to get frisky with another boy, but then Chad steps in and tells him to back off, and then they get into a fist fight, and then Sam appears and uses a taser to tasers the guy's parts.
That's not bad, eh?
I'm going to not say what parts, but you get the gist when you see the movie.
Below the belt.
Anyway, Tara gets annoyed by Samantha's overprotectiveness. She thinks that Sam is going overboard, but then they discover that there was a killing in the area, and they discover evidence that maybe that Samantha might be involved, because they find her ID amongst the dead remains, and along with another Ghostface mask. Anyway, so you guys know, people on social media are saying nasty things about Samantha.
See the killer or everything else, and
saying
nasty and horrible.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's definitely her. Everyone pities Richie being the victim, and Amber, obviously, whom we've scrapped. But Richie seems to be considered, they consider a victim in this incident. They don't seem to see it that way. And both Samantha gets abused on the internet and abused in real life by passerbyers. She gets even water thrown at her when they were walking down the street at one point.
Luckily it was water, hey?
It was luckily it was water. They even get filmed on camera when she starts fighting with another person, and it gets aired on television. You know, the usual stuff.
5 minutes of fame. Oh, well, I wish I could get that.
Not so good.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, Samantha feels like she's everyone in the world hates her, and she feels like...
I'll go and eat worms. Okay?
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, she eventually gets a call from Ghostface telling her the big bad news that she and her sister's days are numbered, if that's the word.
Yeah, something like that.
He chases them into a sort of a mini mall, I think it was.
Yeah. A little convenience store, yeah.
And there we watch him kill the owner of at the convenience store, and a few customers. A few of them get away and call the police. Of course, Tara and Sam were able to get out of there, but the killer gets away. And
Must
of
be
course,
back doors left open.
Of course, Samantha wants to leave. She wants to run, but the detective in charge, Wayne, tells her, "No, you're still part of the criminals. You're still most likely a suspect. Therefore, you must stay. Obviously, you and your sister."
Aha.
Yes. It seems that no one seems to trust anyone in this production. Speaking of no trust, Mindy tells the group and the new people like Ethan and Quinn, who are now members of their friend group, along with her girlfriend, I think. And she tells them about the requel. That's another term for a sequel, but at the same time using similar elements from the original. Like in the original Scream, the second movie, it takes place in a university. And this one is where it takes place in a university because, no doubt, it's a continuation. And, of course, the friend group is always up to question, except for the old ones. You know right there and then that the old friend group is no longer likely a candidate to be the murderer in charge.
Sure think so, yeah.
And so it's unusual the new people. And we have 3 likely people in the friend group, 4 I should add. We have Ethan, who's a friend of Chad, Mindy, who's a roommate to, Samantha and Tara. Let me see. The boyfriend to Samantha, who's now living across in the same building with them. And let me see. There were four, wasn't it? I guess the fourth one would be. I'm not sure who the fourth one actually is. I forgot.
Wasn't me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Her girlfriend. I mean, Mindy's girlfriend. Sorry. So anyway, they go back to Samantha's place and they're talking. So you guys know, Chad and Tara, they're starting to grow or develop a relationship.
The juices are starting to flow.
Yeah, something is starting to flow, start to stir, stuff like that. Anyway, they comfort Samantha, telling her it's not your fault, and all that stuff. And we're a team. We're like the Scooby Gang in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, sort of thing.
And we're like Laurel and Hardy.
Uh-huh. Anyway, while they're in another room, we notice Samantha's boyfriend notices Ghostface in another room with Quinn, and we watch her on the phone, not aware that the killer is in the room with her, and he tries to signal to Samantha, waving his hand, saying, "Hey, over here! You got someone in your house."
Double glazing is a wonderful thing.
So you guys know, on the television, it mentions that the Ghostface masks are selling like hotcakes in one of the scenes. Everyone seems to want one, therefore.
I don't want one.
No, I should mention the Ghostface from the masks that the killers are wearing at the moment are actually masks from the previous slasher killers probably wore.
Well, that's the theme behind it, is actually using the mask that were used by the previous Ghostface. So these have obviously been stolen from
evidence
police
lockers.
Stations for evidence area. Yeah.
It seems that a lot of the masks and costumes have disappeared.
That should have been a bit of a hallmark, a bit of an Easter. Wait a minute. These are being snuck out by somebody who has access to them.
Yeah. Also, a reoccurring character comes back who was in Scream 4. She's now a detective and all grown up. I guess it's Kier. What's her name? Wow. Mrs. Reeds.
Where is
Reed?
it?
I think it's
where
here it is. My name.
Kirby.
Kirby Reed. Kirby was in Scream 4.
And that's played
and
by
she was playing a teenager.
Pantanera? Yeah.
So she come back as a detective. Detective. And she's still a fangirl in this movie.
I've got to mention her before.
So she's on the investigation for this, along with Wayne, and we even see Easter eggs of previous photos of the actual killers in this, and they're trying to pinpoint the likely chance of maybe what's happening in this production, obviously.
Bugger.
Anyway, so back to the story. Yep. The kids eventually escape Ghostface, but Minnie's girlfriend, she doesn't come out of it all right. She gets killed. She dies on impact on the ground.
Otherwise, she fell out the window.
Yeah, she died. There were Samantha's boyfriend. There was a ladder.
He fell off the ladder. Yeah, trying to get over.
They used it as a bridge, climbing across it.
To get from one building to the next. Yeah, they're close over an alley. Yeah.
The Chad and Mindy and Samantha escaped, and Tara and Chad, they kind of ran out the door and got down to the step levels. But the remaining ones, they end up inside one of the bedrooms. So they had little choice.
Away.
Oh, and I should mention Quinn is killed off. We see her body cut. We think. And of course, anyway, so let me see. Gail Weathers, she comes back into this production, as I said before, and she tries to question Samantha and Tara, but Samantha is annoyed with her because she's not writing a book about Dewey. She's writing another book on the killings.
Yay!
From last time. You would think the woman would get the hint.
She's making money out of
But maybe the fact her editor told her no person would pay for $1 for a book about a old detective or old sheriff anyway. So he probably pushed her to write the next book on the killings.
Okay.
Also, Gail Weaver discovers where these masks, these unexplainable masks that probably belong to the original killers came from. As it turns out, she found out a site that mentions about a shrine to the original killings.
Yeah.
She discovers it in
an old cinema.
Yeah, in an old cinema, and we go there and we see the costumes of the victims and the killers' outfits and stuff and props, all the stuff.
The original bloody clothes they were
the bloody
found
knives that were used. We also
cement
see
trail.
we also see the Ghostface costumes. The masks have no doubt been removed off their
because they've been used by the current people, and and
and they
said
said
they leave them at the scene of the crimes.
Each time it seems like a significant
like
method.
a calling card or something. Yeah,
exactly. So anyway, someone is stealing these sort of things, but the only way this could have happened is if it was stolen by someone on the inside of the police department, which I think could either be Wayne or Kirby. So anyway, Wayne suggests that they kind of go out in public because no doubt the killer would not flush out and chase them there. So anyway, eventually the Ghostface calls and they pinpoint where the call is taking place. As it turns out, it's taking place at Gail Weaver's house. So they head over there, and Gail Weaver's boyfriend, she has a boyfriend, who gets killed, and she fights off Ghostface as much as she could. Of course, he ends up getting a few stab wounds into her, and eventually Sam and Tara arrive there in time. They kind of took Wayne's police car. And they get there. So you guys know, Gail Weaver doesn't die in this. At least not what I've heard. They say that she may have survived. So anyway, Wayne continues telling them that maybe you should hide in a big public area, to avoid being killed. But even people get
safety in numbers.
Yeah, that's true. But you got to admit, sometimes even the biggest crowds could also cover the horriblest murders. And most people would not hear you scream in a crowd because they're either deaf because of music, or it's very noisy.
Or they don't give a crap.
Yeah.
They don't give a crap. That's good. Yeah.
They get separated in the subway. They get separated in different trains. Mindy and Ethan are separated in one train cart, and the others are in a different one. We then see, as I said before, there's a lot of costumes in this, and this is the second time we see people dressed up in costumes and stuff like that. And here we see so many Ghostface amongst the crowds, and we start wondering, which one is the likely killer? We get a few jump scares at one point where we think they're approaching us from behind or they're coming from us in the front. But then we find out that Mindy's one, who's crouched down, appears and he stabs her in the stomach, and she's not dead. She goes to the hospital. Ethan helps her, gets to the hospital. And then
didn't do a very good job.
Kirby suggests that they use this time to hide inside the shrine, in the most likely place, because it's well secured. Doubtful. I don't think so. Because I like to think that there's still fire exits that could easily be easily open from the outside, maybe. Even though people have explained it to me so many times, a fire exit cannot be opened from the inside.
There's no handles on the outside, I don't think, from memory. Yeah. You got that lever thing. You put your hand on, and these the bolts come out.
Before they get to this place, Sam dismisses her boyfriend, tells him she doesn't trust him, and he totally seems to be understands, and he heads off. So we get to the shrine, and we watch as the group disperse here and there, and Kirby makes a plan of trying to capture the killer there. Of course, Samantha is looking at her father's costume, and we see in the reflection her father's face, who's telling her to arm herself to protect herself from the likely killer. I mean, in the past, we have seen him in the last movie, obviously, where he makes an appearance and he encourages her to arm herself and tries to get herself ready for all the same. Anyway, she, of course, everyone's dispersed, and she doesn't know where everyone is, and we are left to wonder who to trust at this point. Then let me see. She gets a call from Wayne, who tells her not to trust Kirby, saying that she's not what she is.
She's been fired from the FBI, yada, 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 mentally unstable, yada, 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 all the good bits.
Of course, Ghostface appears, and we start having a fight scene, and Chad gets injured really badly. He gets a few stab wounds in the belly, and we don't see him again for a while. And Tara and Sam try to fight off and hide from the Ghostface. And as we go, we soon meet Kirby, and Wayne appears, and he keeps saying that do not trust her, and Kirby saying do not trust him, stuff. And soon enough, Wayne pulls out his gun and shoots Kirby, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get the ultimate reveal. As it turns out, there are 3 Ghostfaces in this one.
And here's the family connection.
We then see 2 Ghostfaces appear. We see it. The first one is Ethan, who's actually Wayne's son, and Quinn, who faked her death. Or at least her father faked the death.
Yeah, made it look like she died.
Yeah.
By putting a blood bag on her tummy or something or other. Yeah.
Wayne turned out to be the one who's stealing the evidence from the evidence locker and making the shrine in dedication to his son.
Now, the girl his daughter who died...
Yes?
Did he organise her death? I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, using a bit of fake blood props, the prosthetic stuff you see in film projects.
He organised.
Considering they're in film school, therefore, there's a big chance they could have made that
stuff. So he's responsible for faking Quinn's death. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, as they often say, dead men tell no tales. So technically... Well, women don't tell tales. Anyway, so...
But they're getting revenge because their son.
Wayne is Richie, the killer from the last movie's father, who's encouraged his son over the years for making his own fan film of Scream, and he's done a lot of other things too, including making the shrine using the stolen evidence from police lockup, all that stuff.
And I thought he stole the drugs out of there. Yeah,
true. So Wayne has committed several fractures in police sort of procedure. You're not supposed to steal evidence unless it's you're needing it for a particular case whatsoever. Unfortunately, and he wants to take revenge on Samantha because him and his family think that Samantha and Tara are responsible for the killings, and therefore she should be the one to pay for her crimes. Even though they think that incriminating her would be the best way to go, even though I don't think so. Soon enough, the girls eventually fight the killers off, and eventually we watch as Quinn gets shot in the head, the temple.
Very nice shot.
Yeah.
Right between dead center of the forehead.
While Tara kills Ethan, stabs him into the mouth.
That's right, yeah.
Well, leaving Wayne, the last remaining member of the family, alive.
Daddy
and now he's lost not only one son, but he's lost 2 other children, thanks to his revenge, whatever.
Yeah.
So, anyway, he quickly fights with Samantha, and they fall onto a display, and they both fall into unconsciousness. Then we wake to find that Wayne has awakened. Samantha is no longer isn't there, and she gets a call, and she does the Ghostface voice telling him, "What's your favorite scary movie?" type voice. And
didn't he dress up?
Yes. Yeah. He then starts approaching the display area where the Ghostface, costumes are, and we see the center one, which it was Billy Loomis's costume, is missing. And then we get Samantha appears and starts stabbing Wayne really hard. And I would have loved it if the big reveal that it's not her wearing the costume, that it was her sister Tara, showing the world that Samantha isn't a killer.
But Samantha was dressed up.
Yes.
However,
he was the one who kept telling her to put on the mask. I don't know why he wants her to put on the mask at the when he was in the ultimate reveal. What's the point?
Yeah, he's a shooter. Was he dressed up?
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Anyway, he eventually collapses down, and we get a tender moment between Sam and Tara.
Didn't Tara stop her stabbing him as well?
Yeah.
Enough's enough,
Yeah. The girls collapse on near the stage, and they talk about a bit. And Sam says she's finally going to let her sister have more independence.
Yeah, because she's being overprotective.
Then
hovering.
we get Ethan appear, and then somehow he crashes onto the floor, and then the television set that kills Stu in Scream 1 falls on top of him.
Falls on his head. Oh, what a shame.
Kira is still alive, and as it turns out, Chad is still alive, and of course Mindy's still alive. And Mindy's a little upset when she comes to the crime scene. She's saying, "Oh, I missed the monologue." Well, you can't have everything.
Fandom victim.
Fandom washed down the drain.
Yeah.
Anyway, we then find out.
Didn't someone stab Wayne through the eye as well?
Oh yeah, I should mention that Samantha stabbed him in the eye, kind of penetrating his
straight through his eye, straight into his brain. What a nice shot.
Well, technically the gun she had was empty, so
it had to do something.
You have to do something.
Yeah, that was really good.
Anyway, so the police arrive along with Sam's boyfriend, who tells her that he was bringing in the extra police in, and she then realizes
that's right.
that
Get the police. That's right.
She then realizes that he wasn't the enemy, and she then trusts him again.
And having Kirby there, being the FBI agent, she could vouch for everything, saying, yes, those dead guys over there are the naughty guys.
Yeah, she's a policeman after all.
Oh, FBI person.
Yeah, FBI person. Soon enough, we get the police and the hospital in, and they start treating everyone's wounds, and we then watch as Sam pulls out her father's mask, looks at it, and throws it on the ground and walks away with her sister.
She is not her father's daughter. She's a good girl.
The end.
Fade to black.
Fade to black. And we then get a flash of Ghostface yet again. The end.
Time for a sequel. No.
Well, there is going to be that option, Mike. There's going to be that option.
They're hoping to do a sequel. Yeah, I don't know how many sequels they can milk it for, but it's open for a sequel.
Well,
is there going to be a copycat killer?
Well, there's always a copycat.
Pop the head up. Yeah, another one, and
I got to admit, though, as I said before, these requels seem to be capturing that Scream quality. And I'm sure if Wes Craven was still alive, he probably would have loved these ones really much.
Yeah.
If he lived long enough to appreciate the 2021's ones.
Yep. Anyway, I was going to go through production stuff and different things, but there's lots of stuff to talk about, so I won't do too much. I'll get probably straight into talking about the reviews, I think, because they're really important for this one, because it's only been going 10 days at this point. Yeah. By the time you hear it, it's probably about 30 days or 28 days or 20 days.
So far, the reviews seem very positive.
Yeah, they're all damn groovy. We're page after page notes here. Reception, here we go. Yeah.
And most of the time, it's usually one or the other. Like, audience thoughts are pretty good.
But the box office is great for the 10-day period. It's really it's going gangbusters.
Yeah.
Now, here we go. Rotten Tomatoes holds the approval rating of 77% based on 251 reviews. You normally don't get that many reviews. And so they're really happy with it. Metacritic, 61 out of 100. Cinema Score gave an average of B+ out of an A+ to an F scale. Post Talk gave an overall 87%. Chicago Sun Times, Richard Roper gave it 3 stars out of 4. Owen Gleibman for Variety we gave the positive review despite finding it too long. He probably needed to go to the toilet. There you go.
Well, it was 2 hours long.
Well, it's not movie. Benjamin Lee from The Guardian gave it 4 out of 5 star rating. Simon Thompson from The Playlist gave the film an A and described Panettiere as the active ingredient here, the bolt out of the blue, and she revels in the role, delivering a real treat to die-hard fans. And this goes on. All the reviewers liked it.
They liked it. They really liked it.
Some said, it's getting a bit stale, but the way they've handled the movie is good. So, and review, The Independent, Clarice Laurie from The Independent called the film bloody, satisfying, and ridiculously fun. Yep. So everybody else says, it's great.
Yeah.
And it's a damn good watch.
Yeah, usually it's one or the other. Like audiences like it, and reviewers hate it.
Or reviewers like it, and the box
like
office isn't holding it.
But audiences dislike it.
All over. If you like the Scream franchise, I would see this one. Mm-hmm. Okay, you will not be disappointed. It's up there with all the others. It's not probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, I read somewhere that Jenna Ortega is offered to appear in a remake of X-Men as Rogue, but I don't know if she'll probably take it because she prefers the scary, creepy stories and movies.
Well,
I mean, why else
stuff,
would you explain the fact she was in the last few movies that we reviewed so far that deal with a little creepy and
she was in Wednesday Addams thing. She was in X,
X movie,
thing, whatever. She was in The Babysitter. She's in this one. So she likes the creepy, the slashery sort of horror movie type thing.
Yeah, so she may not even take it for her.
She might want to try something different too.
Maybe.
Yeah. So anyway. What else? They are thinking about a sequel, but they're waiting to see how things pan out with this. But they want Neve Campbell to return in some capacity in the future movies, but it's up to her to come to some sort of arrangement with them.
Yeah, hopefully they might negotiate terms by then.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we've already have two still remaining actors who from the original that we don't want to see disappear.
See, the problem is when someone becomes very... it's like Harry Potter, okay? You had Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Buggerlugs, I can't remember last name moment, and Rupert Grint, the other guy, Ron Weasley. Those three guys... they were in the series, they're the main ones, all the way through. Now, if you said, Harry Potter's going to be replaced, what's his name? What's Harry Potter's full name?
Daniel.
Daniel. If Daniel said, I'm not going to do it anymore, and you put somebody else there, it's not going to be the same. And those three really held it together as children actors. They did very, very good. But if you change one or two around, the chemistry dies. And sometimes you get adult actors, there's a problem with the same thing. You take that person out of the equation, the tone of the movie changes.
Exactly so.
Yeah, look, you don't like Tom Cruise that much, but you look at Tom Cruise and the Mission Impossible movies. I really can't see anybody else doing justice to those roles because I think they were written and directed and everything around him. You put somebody else in it, they probably wouldn't work as well. So yeah, I just still think so. Yeah, so sometimes producers, directors have to be mindful of the actor who's actually bringing their little baby to life. That risk having a dead movie. So yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's the way I look at it anyway. Now, getting back to availability, we're getting onto it. Obviously, it's a bit early. eBay hasn't got any hints of it yet, but probably will. Amazon's got a pre-order tab available at the moment. Don't know what's happening, but in 2 weeks' time, things might start changing. So by the time you hear this, it might be. Other sites might have something going, so whatever. Now, ratings. It ticks all the right boxes. I cannot find any fault with it.
Yeah, I can't find any faults with it either.
Honestly, the storyline, I can't think of any weak points.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to give it a 10. I don't normally give anything a 10 unless it's really good and significantly great, whatever. And I think this is probably one of the better ones in the franchise, and it's not a bad watch.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I like the fact that in this one, instead of the usual two slasher killers, you have a threesome, a trio, if you call it that.
In the first movie, for
or an unholy trilogy.
Remember the first one had two guys? Had Matthew Lillard and the other guy playing. What's Matthew Lillard in the very, very first movie? Wouldn't they had two killers?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
and it's been an ongoing thing for, for some of these movies. Except for the third one. That one had only one killer.
Yeah. So you've got a three now, but a family group. Getting like a revenge killing. So it was a nice turn on it.
Yeah. It also explains, with Quinn being Samantha and Tara's roommate, it would explain how she would have gotten her hands on Samantha's ID and put it at the crime scene. That would touch on to the fact that she would be incriminated. It's easy. I mean, if you're a roommate, you most likely would have be able to get plenty of opportunities to steal someone's ID.
Someone's in the bathroom or something.
If she was going to the bathroom or the shower, she could just grab it, and next time she's out and about, she will not notice that her ID's been stolen.
Yeah, exactly.
Considering she's anyway. So I like the fact in this one that Samantha is going through her own set of grief, even though Tara wants to move on. Tara is. I know in the last movie, the one that in 2020, she was confined to the hospital bed in all that part of the movie. But in this one, she kind of she started making more movement in this one, where she got to interact more with the other characters a lot more, and we got to see what she would be like, fighting alongside with her sister. Yeah, I should mention both Tara and her mother I guess they've. She's cut off her daughter in this movie. Obviously, I mean, both Tara's kind of sided with her sister in this matter, and she kind of cut off both daughters because she just likes the fact Samantha's past is full of horrible history and all that stuff. It's not Samantha's fault. You cannot blame a poor girl finding out if her real father is a slasher killer. I mean, the curiosity killed the cat, you heard?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not her fault when something like this happens. I do keep wondering, in the next movie, will her mother become the likely slasher killer? It would be nice to know where her mother is. I mean, where Samantha and Tara's mother is, because in the last movie we don't see her. I would have thought if my mother saw me getting attended by the hospital, she would be at my side all the time.
I would be there. Mm-hmm. I'll go to the canteen
I mean, that's
to get some food.
My theory, considering that
coffee.
fact she's supposed to have her mother there to look after her, because she's still a minor. Still a young child. Not a minor. I mean, it's still a young kid that needs her family around.
Be a kid, but it's young. You stand by your family. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If anything happened to you and you're in hospital, I'll visit you occasionally. I mean, every day.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, it's usually most of the time.
Some Maccas or something.
It is a bit strange. Usually, something like they usually would explain maybe her absence, like in, I understand Sydney's absent. Her father was absent. He was on a business trip, but it turns out he wasn't on a business trip. He was dead, wasn't he? He was abducted and then was about to be the likely suspect in the first Scream movie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But thanks to Billy and his and Stu, obviously. I gotta admit though, every time I think it's cool to seeing Billy Loomis's character still haunting Sam's character. I mean, it's kind of, it reminds me that Samantha's past is still haunting her, and while some people want her to let the past die, it seems like she can't seem to be is handling it rather difficultly, right?
Yeah, somewhat.
I mean, I do like the fact that her father, in such cases, seems to be guiding her to try to get her to protect herself. Even though he does it in a lopsided kind of way, when you think about it.
He's a good daddy, even though he's dead.
Yeah, but I gotta admit, he had the right idea when he told her to arm yourself with one of my old knives, stuff like that.
Yeah, be alright. Yeah.
And I gotta admit that Wayne goofed up immensely in this.
He did.
By stealing from the lockup, and
that was a dig for
and
Wayne.
the fact that the masks him and his kids would have been wearing, they would have shown hair fibers inside the masks, meaning the people who last wore them would most likely
if
would
they
have been
bothered
pinpointed.
to check. Mm-hmm. That's, you keep saying that, but before, if they found the mask, they would go for the DNA and they'd find the person DNA on it that maybe is the suspect. They've already got samples, not going to look any further.
True.
But if they want to cross-reference it in a database, they might find, oh, look.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another thought came to me, guys.
Really? Wow.
That the other masks that they haven't been found, like, I think, let me see, the ones that we haven't found yet, let me see. We have Billy's one. We have Mrs. Loomis's one. We have, let me see which one it was. We have Stu's mask, I think it was. But we still have, let me see, 1, 2, 3 masks that remain, not among the evidence. Meaning, so far, I think that either they've been the who knows how many other slasher killers who are related to Wayne, or there are other accomplices among them.
Or they've been saved for the sequel.
True.
I
suspect that maybe there's a chance that Wayne or his kids may have some accomplices that we don't know about.
A little boy down the road does some lawns for them and stuff.
Considering at the beginning...
Well, Mr. Saw had some apprentices, didn't he?
Yeah, I should mention at the beginning with Jason and his friend who were planning on doing the next slasher killings, they actually used them as scapegoats, making out that they were the ones who developed the shrine. But as it turns out, it was Wayne, obviously. I would have liked it if they let Jason and the other guy live long enough so they could be the ones to be the scapegoats and then get chased down by the police, and that way they can escape killing Samantha and Tara while all the time the police are chasing after the wrong person. That's my theory. I mean, it sounds like very good. If they didn't kill Jason and his friend, maybe they would have gotten away with this murder. But I think they were more or less trying to make sure Samantha would be pinned for the murders and
they'll try and set her up. Yeah.
Try to set her up. I guess it makes sense, but it would have made for an interesting, just an interesting idea in my head. I mean, that's how I'd see it. If you have another killer, copycat killer, I think that's the term you used, Mike. That way, if he'll be running around loose doing his own set of killings, and at the same time, these people would be still doing the revenge killings and kind of try to be able to walk away, or try to walk away.
In theory.
That's another thing. How is I know Quinn, who was being her Samantha and Tara's roommate, how are they going to explain that her disappearance from, how is she going to, people are going to still see her face, in the public.
Who?
The public will know right away that she's not dead.
True. Yes.
I do wonder in the next one, will Samantha be still haggled by the by trolls out there saying that it's her fault for the killings?
Well, they didn't Jamie Lee Curtis in the last movie. They're blaming her for her involvement with Michael Myers. Remember?
I get it.
You're doing it. It's all your fault. You leave the poor guy alone. Remember the last movie?
Yeah, true.
They're blaming her for keeping the problem alive.
Yeah. I don't understand why they were blaming Samantha when actually she was just trying to live her life, try to stay away from Woodsboro and away from her family, from Tara, but then this stuff starts happening and she gets called back to Woodsboro to look after her sister, and then all hell breaks loose in that sense.
Anyway.
And they start blaming her for coaxing Richie to do it because police no doubt would say, "Oh, we saw the evidence. There's plenty of we can vouch for Gail Weathers and Sydney for backing up the claims that Richie and Amber were the ones responsible for the death. Therefore, pretty much, they definitely, but they probably would have thought, oh, they've been corrupted. They probably were just blackmailed by Samantha into confessing that she was the one not responsible.
Yeah, okay, right.
It is some...
you and your conspiracy theories.
It's not conspiracy. I mean, it's just that there are some weird people out there that just don't know when to back off. I know it's ridiculous. It happens in stardom as well as ordinary situations.
Well, there you go then.
And some people just don't let it go.
Anyway,
I do think this movie deserves a 10 in my opinion.
Yeah, I gave it 10. You gave it a 10, and that makes a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
No, but like I said, the box office says it's a good movie, and the reviewers say it's a good movie. So. And the three of us can't be wrong, yeah?
True. So that's about it for us tonight.
So if you haven't seen it at the cinema yet, get your little feet down there and have a look at it. Or if you can't get down there directly, get a copy of it. It's a good movie.
Mm-hmm. So that's about it for us guys tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed this latest podcast, and I hope I see you guys for the next one. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye.